Hey, and welcome to VFX Tutors. I'm Josh, and in this tutorial we're going to be continuing with our, tutorial, it's more of a walkthrough, continuing with modelling our flamethrower. So on a previous one we modelled this sort of like fuel inlet part. There are still things that we sort of need to adjust as we get close to the end of the model, but we're just going to build all the parts, and we're going to do all the sort of adjusting afterwards. So if you've just found this now, you can follow it's all in the playlist, so have a look through, and yeah, the whole process is documented, and when I've done this you should be able to have all the scans and stuff. So we did that sort of fuel nozzle bit, which I kind of want to actually must have nudged it. Something. Anyway, so what we'll do is build this sort of thing. It's like, I don't know what it'd be for. It's just kind of like a leather looped thing. So I'm just looking at it and just kind of seeing how it sort of goes together. Let's say you've always got the reference to look at as well. But I'm probably safe to say we could probably actually, for something like this, we could probably actually go with quad draw. But let's get started on it instead of just me rotating around it. So I am quad draw, not quad draw. I'm not going to use quad draw. I don't want to, because sometimes it just doesn't. It's great if you've got like a very clean mesh, but I'm just going to stop yabbering on and create a cube. And this side has always been like our best side, so I'll use this as more a reference. I'm just going to click and drag this over to here. Just nest that in there so I don't have to keep opening it. And you probably could use a cylinder to get this going. It's probably annoyingly just not as perfect as you want for a cylinder, but you never know until you try, so that's an option that you can do. Because we kind of got this edge here. I'm just thinking, is this the best way to do it? And I'm just going to turn this off and see how that sits on the actual model. Because if we wanted, we could extract this, but when you kind of look at it, like, you're still going to have to pull it out at some points. So I think it's probably just easiest just to go for it. So I'm just going to go back to that. Oh, decisions. Very indecisive sometimes, sorry. No, we'll just stick with what we're doing. Cool, so I'm going to kind of... Also, sorry about the audio on the last one. It just corrupted and went a bit funky. Don't know why. Don't know how. It's one of the many mysteries of the universe, I guess. No, I probably broke something, but we'll blame it on that because it's easier to blame on that. So it's kind of worn down now. And we can always bevel this. But we've got kind of most of the shape. Maybe this might not be the best way to do it. Let's just keep giving it a go. Not really worried about messing it up because I can just redo it if I really need to. So this is just a... Let's put this down to just a method. Already feeling that this may not be the best idea. Let's just sometimes, you know, just might not be the best idea. I am actually going to go unreference that and make that live. And go to quad draw. Going to keep it quite generic and equal. No, we're still going to have to do some cleanup on this for sure, but this will probably get us actually going a bit better, to be honest. I was hoping... I always like doing things too manual, and it's maybe not a good thing sometimes, but when you're doing it like this, you just got to pick your spots. That was kind of the worry I was going to have, that it's not kind of getting the shape. We can adjust it afterwards as long as we keep our sort of poly count not too crazy. That's just why I don't like using quad draw, but that being said, it is absolutely amazing. And obviously other software have similar tools, but so I want to make sure that I need to get room in for that button. Not that we need to make a hole for it, but it's nice to always consider the plan to make a hole, because if you change your mind, it's there. And I guess this is probably what happens when you don't plan your tutorials and you just wing it. But at least you get to see some of the thought process and decision making and mistakes, because I definitely make some mistakes. So we definitely need to make sure, because we do need to put a hole in that one, Sorry if my I'm whistling. Asthma is also not very good, so I might cough and whistle. But so obviously can't quite get to that, but kind of get in through that way. I've got a rounded end here, so adjust that. Let's not add that up yet because that's just going to create more poly for us to deal with for now. Although I think we've gone as far as we can with that. So I'm just going to turn off my quad draw and just scale that up for the smooth. We'll have to adjust it, but we've got pretty much the shape that we want. We just need to continue it underneath now. I'm just going to turn my scan off so it's easier to see. Let's choose this tool component. Obviously there's going to be a lot of fiddling with this, so don't worry too much. Well, no, I keep saying that. I say that a lot. Don't worry too much. Well, I am actually doing it now, aren't I? So we probably could have done this one at quad draw, but hey ho, done it now. Oh, don't want to do that. Let's probably want to put that back on reference for sure. Kind of gets what are we on? So I'm just gonna adjust this while I can. And I'm just going to turn put that back on reference and turn that off. So I kind of actually want this definitely doesn't feel right around here. Let's make that twist a bit more correct. It's all about attention to detail. And what I want to do, sorry, I got an itchy nose. No, actually, I'm going to do something weird here. I'm just going to extrude it down like that. Because, oh, this looks weird. But I actually just want, I don't think that's actually, so I'm doing that just so I can, let's change our tool settings. Bit of fluff. I know it kind of looks weird at the moment, but I'm doing it so I can make sure that I'm keeping the same amount of distance, unless I extrude it all, which I'll probably get. You could extrude it all. I kind of don't want to do that to the last bit, so I'm just using this as kind of a rough guide. So I'll just delete that and flip it over. It's probably a bit of a weird way to do it, but you'll commit to some of these weird methods. Bring this back so I do this so it comes around under here somewhere, I think, to here. So it needs to stop about there. And we can still adjust the distance, just so I don't have to constantly do it. We seem to have come off our axis quite a bit. Whoops. I know I'm kind of grabbing it in randomly in the perspective viewport, but I am making sure it is correct afterwards. So what was it up to? So a bit more. So it's kind of roughly in the right place. I know that's quite actually probably quite a terrible idea to do that. So I don't think we actually achieved much doing that, but well, we'll just mesh display and reverse that. So now we've kind of got like without, probably, to be honest, probably could have just guessed that distance. Maybe that was a bit of a fool's errand. But like I say, there's at least there's a weird method out there to do it if you want. So that's kind of our stop. So imagine, even though we did do all that sort of jiggery and poking around, we'll probably still need to refine it somewhat. But it's got us in a decent ballpark, so now what we want to do is kind of what we got. Probably didn't need all those edges, but we have now. It might help, you never know. But let's just bridge these. And at least we've got a nice sort of looped bit. So let's bring back our scan. And we need our hole here, so I'm going to bring in cylinder and use this as our cylindrical reference. Because it's very easy to make a. I do this a lot. If you just started watching here, or you skipped because the previous one had such bad audio. Sorry. Might be enough for what we have, but I don't know. And this is purely so we can add like a nice little dimple in there. We could do that with the texture. But like I say, this is modeling, so we're going to try and get as much as we can in the modeling. Let's isolate that. Let's see what we actually need. Let's turn our wireframe on shaded on because that will help. We need a 8-sided one. Let's just pull that out. We'll just offset that in. Obviously we're at such a small scale at the moment, so we are quite tricky to get perfect. But I'm now just going to pull this down and get sort of a nice sort of happy medium sort of in position for it. Don't want to snap it this time. I'm just going to have it running on its component so it slides on top of the surface of its axis, because if I snap it, it's going to probably add a weird little lump. So we're not actually going to see this hole, it's just more of a showing a bit of detail on the model. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's your model. You can go into as much detail as you want. Obviously, something like this probably could easily, there's no question about it, you could quite easily do this in texturing. A little bump in there or something. Normal displacement. Yeah, it's kind of the way I like to do it. If I can model it, I'll probably try and well. Can't quite see that one. Just turn our X-ray on. Cool. So X-ray off. We do not need that anymore. So that kind of looks gross, but what we can now do is, let's not do that. We could probably actually just delete it for now, because we now want to add our thickness to it. Let's just go around and double check if we can make any of these edges a little bit better. Just by shifting them, we get a bit of a better curve. Well, more of a matching curve. May not actually be better, but we can just sort of soft select this in a bit. I'm just gonna, actually I don't want to do that, I want to just pull that out a bit. Cool. So what I'll do now is just turn that off. Just select it all. Extrude it. Let's see how that looks. Obviously we've extruded it the wrong way, so we'll just reverse it. Let's turn off our scan and see how. So it kind of looks right-ish. Not bad. So now we've kind of got our thickness, we will just go around and adjust these edges. Probably we'll never see them, but for the sake of I know, it will make me feel better. And it's kind of just good practice to try and not make everything like super intersecting. Also just realised that's probably changing. Bring back our scan. Okay, so let's sort this funny edge out. So I can have a quick look over, or I can just open up the... So if you do all the parts, you'll also have all these sort of cameras as well. This is what takes everything to the next level, because then you can compare. So I can see it's actually there. We are a little bit off with our bit. I feel it disappears at that point. So let's do these edges. What has happened here? It's not good. Okay, so let's just bevel this. Cool, I think that's probably quite good. Then we'll bevel this. Let's make it a little bit bigger so we get that sucked in sort of edge. Always use hot soft selection to bring any bits out. do need to actually... Let's make sure that's smooth. Kind of tricky because obviously there's a gap there, which there shouldn't be. Don't really want to change the thickness, but we'll let's turn that soft selection off. Yep, so just a lot of moving bits around and just kind of getting it correct. Cool, so I think we're pretty much... That bit's looking pretty... Oh, there's a big kink here actually. So, make it dip in a little bit. probably what is that? So okay, so kind of got some weird bits going on here. Some multiple thicknesses that we do not want. Cool. So we've kind of done that leathery thing. And now we need to do that sort of pin. So quite difficult to see what it is, but I've got a pretty good guess on how it works because we can look at the reference and so I'm actually going to start with a cylinder. Actually, where did that other cylinder go? Who knows? Let's not worry about it. Let's just delete it or something. So, I'm just going to scale this down. Make sure I'm in the right orientation. Object. Sometimes it doesn't like it and you have to go along a rotational axis. But I can see this kind of pokes out quite wide. So I would imagine that it does poke out wide on both sides. See, it folds up here, which we haven't accounted for. Something like that. What I'm going to do is delete all that. I'm just going to scale this out as a sort of reference. Look at that, it's pretty close. Transform components, it's a little bit bigger. And if we wanted, we probably could also get a hole in there for it. Not that. Probably have got far too many subdivisions for this anyway, so that's probably not great, but it should be right. Cool, so how does this work? Okay, so pin through in fact, let's add some cuts first. That's kind of just a guesstimation at the moment. So I think that's probably about right. That's serving our purpose. Kind of seems a bit bulbous actually, looking at it. So let's close this off. Probably far too many subdivisions on this, but here's what it is. Done it now, and we have somehow broken something here. Something like that. It's not multi-cut. Let's bevel. Supporting edges. Cool. Got some sort of strange plug. And we'll just relax this on top so it's not doing anything horrible. Which it is doing something very horrible. Just didn't have that supporting edge in that. Seems to be quite extreme. Why is it doing that? Let's just smooth it. Maybe our things set too high. Obviously you can set this to be a bit more powerful, but it's kind of nice to not blast big chunks because it's very easy to break it and make stuff go funny. So do always kind of like to set it low and do lots instead of set it high, then doing crazy amount of changes. I think maybe if I used to relax, oh no, oh that's probably why it's on really high. Probably was nicer with just the smooth. I'm messing around on such a pointless little thing now. Anyway, right. Cool. So we've got that. Might go back and revise that if it's really needed, but we've got it there. Cool. I think we're pretty much done with that. We've got some funky wobbly bits, which maybe is probably where I messed around with it. Double check actually what that looks like, because I don't think that's correct. Maybe I can grab it. Oh no, it is. It does look very weird. It's kind of... It's not quite like that. It's oh. Yeah, that'll probably be alright for what we need. Cool, so well, just under an hour, so that was crazy amount of time for such a simple thing. I hope you enjoyed that. We're getting very close to finishing it now. We have to get to the point where we have to start tidying up bits. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that tutorial. Hit that like and subscribe, it really does help and makes me happy. And yeah, see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.